Hey everyone, so my topic was bullfighting, um, specifically the Spanish style bullfighting. All right, so for the overview, what bullfighting is basically a matador fights a bull on foot. Um, there's three total stages. So the first stage is the lances stage. The matador will use the cape to analyze the bull's tendencies. Basically, the matador is checking if the bull reacts a certain way to the cape, if the bull tends to go left or right, things like that. Um, at the end of this phase, someone on a horse, like you see there, will stab the bull with a lance, and the purpose of this is to weaken its neck muscles. You can look up YouTube videos of this, but it's pretty violent and it looks extremely painful for the bull. All right, so the next stage is the barbed sticks stage. So these assistants, so this guy is right here, stabs a bull with three pairs of decorative barbed sticks. Um, it's supposed to be like really artistic, and the barbed sticks stay with the bull for the rest of the fight. Goal here, it's supposed to adjust the bull's posture for the final kill when the matador actually kills the bull. It also causes a fair amount of pain for the bull as well. All right, stage three. This is the stage of death. So this is what when you think of bullfighting, this is really the stage that people generally think of. This is where the matador does the series of passes with the cloth or the cape. Again, this is supposed to be really artistic and it lasts for a relatively long time. Once the bull is sufficiently tired or the matador has entertained the crowd enough, then the matador will go for the kill. So again, those barbed sticks, the purpose of those, like you see in the picture, is to lower the bull's head so it's a little bit easier for the matador to go for the kill. So the matador aims for a specific part of the bull's neck, and that's supposed to create an instant death. If the matador misses, then he grabs a dagger, which is a different, basically just a different kind of sword that they have, and he kills the bull quickly. So once the bull's dead, they drag the bull out of the stadium. And generally, there's multiple bulls, multiple matadors that fight in one specific round. Depending on where you are, they'll also butcher the dead bull at this point so that people can eat the meat. And then, of note, another thing here, it's relatively dangerous. You can look up YouTube videos of bulls winning the fights. However, the matadors die very rarely. I think the last time was in 2017. If the matador dies, I'd always kind of assumed that if the bull kills the matador, the bull wins and gets to live, but it's not the case. They've got another matador on standby, ready to go, and that next matador then kills the bull. All right, so for the history, it's been in Spain for a long time. The reason that's important is just really ingrained as part of their culture. So it's got roots in the Roman gladiator fights. Eventually, it went from bullfighting on foot to horseback, and then in the 1700s, it transitioned back to foot-based bullfighting. So the first round, the lances round, is a carryover from when this is done on horseback. Today, it's practiced in Spain, a bunch of other countries that Spain colonized, but it's only legal in certain parts of Spain and certain parts of those other countries. And even in Spain, it's relatively controversial. It's also practiced in France, but only in the southern part of France. And again, it's outlawed in the northern part of France. There's also some other forms of bullfighting out there, generally where the bull isn't killed, in Portugal and a couple other countries. All right, so the arguments for and against, they're pretty straightforward. So a lot of animal rights groups will claim that this is a form of animal abuse and animal torture. And if you look up videos of bullfighting, they definitely have a point. Proponents will claim that bulls, in fact, live longer than cows that are slaughtered at slaughterhouses. They also claim that they have a more humane life than cows slaughtered for meat. And they point to the protection of culture. For a lot of Spaniards and other people in these countries that practice bullfighting, it's really an ingrained part of their culture that they take really seriously. All right, so some discussion questions and an ethical examination of this. To start with, I think with bullfighting, looking at it through a lens of moral relativism is pretty key. So what moral relativism is, it's this idea that there's no absolute right and wrong. So from a relativist perspective, bullfighting would be based on context. So an example of that, causing an animal deliberate pain for no other reason may be viewed as wrong in some contexts, but with regard to bullfighting, it's really a part of the culture. And that leads into ethnocentrism, which is this idea that you view these ethical dilemmas based on the culture that you were brought up in. We'll get to that in a little bit. So moral pluralism is related to moral relativism, but it's a little different. Moral pluralism is the idea that there's multiple moral views that can coexist. So from a pluralist perspective, these different views can exist depending on the perspective of whether you're looking at this as a form of artistic expression, animal cruelty, cultural heritage, etc. So all these different views, they have to be mediated. There's no one view that's inherently correct, so all these views have to coexist. All right, so some other frameworks to look at bullfighting. One is consequentialism, specifically utilitarianism. So this is the idea that outcomes and consequences drive ethics. So from this framework, looking at bullfighting, one would look at the overall happiness. So things like the economic benefit, spectator happiness, cultural impacts, all the good things associated with the consequences of bullfighting versus the animal suffering. So like the bad portions of bullfighting. Another way to look at bullfighting is through a lens of virtue ethics. So from that framework, we'd look at the character of the bullfighters. So some of these virtues that the bullfighters might have, courage, because they do get hurt sometimes and rarely they get killed, as well as traditions. This is so important for certain cultures, versus the cruelty that the bullfighters are showing towards the bulls. Next, when you're looking at the comparison between bullfighting and slaughterhouses, because a lot of proponents of bullfighting will point to the fact that from their perspective, bulls live a more humane, longer, better life raised as a bullfighting bull as opposed to raised as a cow that's going to be slaughtered in a slaughterhouse. I think if you're looking at those, using a deontology framework, specifically intent-based ethics outlook, is helpful. So from that framework, the bullfighters are intending to cause pain to the bulls, so therefore it could be viewed as morally wrong from that framework. Another way to look at the difference between slaughterhouses and bullfighting is from, again, that consequentialism framework. From that lens, bullfighting and slaughterhouses, they may have similar outcomes based on the fact that the bull is going to die in both scenarios, and often the meat is eaten in both scenarios. So from a consequentialist standpoint, you'd also have to look at the type of death that the bull suffers in the ring versus in a slaughterhouse. Depending on who you ask, those deaths might be relatively the same, or potentially the bull in the bullfighting ring may suffer more pain. Anyways, how all this relates to being an AOC, there's no direct correlation. However, I think the best way to look at it is from a lens of ethnocentrism. So as AOCs, how do we command people from different cultures. It's interesting. I actually had a roommate at the academy whose family was from Spain, and he got really, really emotional when he talked about bullfighting because to him, it was such an ingrained part of his culture, his family's culture. And he got really emotional when people would attack it. He also brought up the point that the same point that a lot of proponents of bullfighting have, which is that the fate of the bull is in fact better in bullfighting than in a slaughterhouse. I think from an AOC's perspective, when we're commanding people from different cultures, we have to have a certain amount of ethical absolutism in relation to some things, such as our core values, the rules of war, etc. But there's some level of moral relativism and moral pluralism for some of these other values, especially when we're dealing with different people who are coming from different cultures and therefore dealing with their own ethnocentrism. These are my references. Thanks.